Speaker is Kelly Dorsey. Okay, followed by Becky, and I apologize, Becky. But okay, she's right.
Becky.
Hi, Governor Malloy. I'm Kelly from the Arc of Man of Wallingford. You know me, obviously.
Yes, I do. I just met you. We're going to have our picture taken after tonight.
I got a good question for you.
Okay.
How do you feel about funding assisted living technology that would enable me to live more independently?
I'm trying to do everything I can to get Kelly, you, the ability, and people, other people, to get them the greatest amount of independence. I'll go back to this term I keep using, congregate housing. It is a great tool to make sure that there's housing where a person like you, Kelly, that doesn't need constant supervision but needs some help during the day would get it. Connecticut didn't build any congregate housing for 13 to 14 years. And when you consider what the alternative is with respect to other types of housing that you end up putting or making available to a person, congregate housing is a great bargain. So assistive technology. Kelly, you share some information with me. I'll have our housing.
I have your personal cell, your DNR stuff.
All right.
We'll talk. We'll talk, Malloy.
All right.
Thank you, Kelly, so very much, and thank you for helping me with Becky's last name. I'm not going to say it again. And then the next speaker at Becky is a gentleman named Paul. You can get your last name. Then we're going to talk about budget. And so, Governor, we're trying to do this as quickly as possible because we have only 3 more questions, and then we have to give.
That's the way that the Lieutenant Governor tells me to speak, to give shorter answers.
Hi, Governor Malloy. My name is Becky Wojciechowski, and I'm the Director of Finance at the Arc of Mary Wallingford. And my problem is simple. I need more money.
Yeah.
And in order to make people's dreams come true, I can't do it with flat funding. I can't do it with under the table cuts. I need more money. I need to know that you're behind us and you're going to support us so we can make Kelly's dream come true and George's dream come true, and we can help them live independently and safely in our community.
Sure. I'm a big supporter of ARC organizations, as you know, in the state. I was proud to see the first increase in funding to our not-for-profit community providers on a yearly basis. I think the first time in 6 years. I was proud to come up with a program that you may or may not have applied for, which is a separate grant pool for all of the not-for-profit community providers in our state. We established a pool of $20 million. We actually had $105 million worth of applications. We funded about 128 of those projects. I'm seeking another round of money from the legislature to be approved of $30 million. I'm struggling every day to find ways to sustain your operations and in some cases to expand those operations. In a state where the population itself is growing older and there's a greater need for those services. Right now we estimate that about 500,000 of our residents in the state of Connecticut rely on folks like you for some level of services for their day-to-day lives. And that's why we spend so very much money on it. In fact, we spend so very much money on it that it's affected budgets. And is takes a larger percentage today than it did in the past. But I'm going to keep working with you, and we are continuing the process of increasing funding. Small, I understand, but that's better than cuts. And we also want to make groups more efficient. I have to think ARC as an organization in all of its locations, and my sister's on the board of the Stanford equivalent, more as efficient as we can. So we'll work with you. Thank you.
Paul, and followed by Lisa Santangelo, will be our last speaker. Paul?
Hi, Governor Moy. I am a mental retardation patient and advocate for Arthur and Marion in Wallingford. I live in a group home with assisted living, and I am also a dual citizen which has a mental plus medical disability. I have a blood disorder called hemophilia, and I was wondering how your funding is going to help.
Sure. Again, in group homes, we are in fact increasing expenditures. We want to keep your group home open. We think it's the safest and best place for you to live, and we're going to continue to fund those programs to the greatest extent, and that's an increasing extent. Okay.
Do you also see opening new houses like we've been talking about, like, say tomorrow, for example?
I don't think we're going to open one tomorrow, but I do believe that we will be expanding housing opportunities, assisted living, congregate housing, affordable housing, as well as protecting the housing stock that we have to a greater degree. We've laid out a program of $300 million of reinvestment in existing housing. The program that I just described with respect to the grant operation, many of the projects we funded were in fact group homes.
How do you see helping me out with my medical?
I don't know about your medical condition because I don't know much about it. You're covered. You may be dual eligible, but you're certainly covered by Medicaid in the state under our state and federal program. And my hunch is that although I don't know you particularly, but my hunch is if you're living in the group home that your medical expenses are being covered through Medicaid. And that's a program that we continue to not only support, but we expanded the eligibility for in our state, as opposed to many states where they did not do that.
Thank you, Governor.
Thank you.
Thank you.